The most affordable cities to live on $50,000 a year. That's what we're going to talk about from our friends at smartasset.com. This is pretty interesting because usually $50,000 a year, $5,000 a month, $50,000 a year, somewhere between $50,000 and $60,000 a year is what I'm shooting for the vast majority of retirees. For sure, because essentially you're going to get a good amount of that from Social Security. Say $40,000 from Social Security. It will just say $20,000 or $10,000 from IRAs and whatnot, or even maybe some part-time work, whatever it is. But if you can shoot for, say, $5,000 a month or $4,000 a month, you're in a pretty good place. Because remember, the median household income, that's across the board, not just for retirees. That's the median household income is $60,000 a year. That means 50% are below, 50% are above. So that's a nice place to start at $60,000 a year, $5,000 a month. You take out your FICA taxes, you take out your 401k contributions, and ideally you take out your state taxes and federal taxes as well because you've done some tax planning, and we're looking at about $4,000 a month of expenditures to live on. Or of income to live on, So roughly $50,000 a year. So that's why this was pretty appealing to me. So let's dive right into it, my friends. Don't forget to smash, share, subscribe, and say. All right. Now, say is synonymous with comment, but I like the 4 S's. Smash, share, subscribe, and say. So that's a nice little tagline. All right. So most affordable cities for an early retirement. And again, the smartasset.com, we're going to look at $50,000 a year is what we're talking about. Who doesn't want to retire early? Getting to retire in your 50s or early 60s can mean being able to afford to do stuff you've always dreamed about, But retiring early requires a ton of planning and preparation. One great strategy for retirement early is to retire someplace affordable. Okay, gotcha. Below, we look at a number of factors to rank the cities where you can retire early. In total, we compare cities across 10 factors, looking at a combination of cost of living and quality of living factors. Check out our data and methodology below to see where we got our data from and how we put together. Key findings. The South is a good landing spot. Yep, I completely agree. And I'd add to that the Midwest too, believe it or not. The South is a wonderful spot. Four of the top 10 cities where you can afford to retire early are in the South. In particular, Kentucky. Interesting. With 2 of the top 10. Texas has the other 2. Texas has the 2 other southern cities in the top 10. Texas, I don't know if I consider Texas southern, but I wouldn't. I'd consider Texas unique, like California's unique. But still, the South's a good place to start. Retirees are making smart decisions. In past analysis, we have seen that retirees are flocking to Arizona and Florida for the retirement. Actually, I don't agree with that. I did a video a couple weeks back that showed you there's just not much movement once people just don't move. They don't move interstate, and if anything, they're moving intrastate, but they're not moving. They're just not. There's not much of a flow of people from California to Idaho or from New Jersey to South Carolina. There's a few, but it's just not that big. So when they say flocking to Arizona and Florida, not much. I mean, there might be some in that regard, but the vast majority of you all are staying in place. But for those of you who are considering getting out in a less expensive place to enjoy your retirement, this would be a good video. One positive coming out of this analysis is that it would appear retirees are getting good financial advice. Mesa, one of the most popular spots for retirees, scores in the top 10, and 2 Florida cities also take the top 15 spots. Man, I didn't like Mesa. I lived in Phoenix for a number of years, and Mesa was I didn't like it at all. It was just on top of each other, no space to breathe, no green space at all. I was not a fan. The downtown was kind of cool, and the traffic was just nuts trying to get out of Mesa, into Mesa. I was not a fan, but hey, it's in the top. They got number 9. I wouldn't move there. So let's go into Lexington, Kentucky, man. That's wonderful. Number 1 is Lexington, up right there. Oh, wait, no, where is it? Right there, excuse me. What's SPA? Lexington, Kentucky, right there. I'm a fan of Lexington. Lexington takes a top spot where it's possible to retire early. And by early, I'm also saying $50,000 a year. All right, that's where I got this article to begin with. Top cities to retire with $50,000 a year, and that led me to this one right here. The city ranks in the top 10 for cost of living, healthcare cost, housing costs as a percent of income. It also has a very low rate of crime, a sign of how livable the city is. If you find you need to supplement your income in retirement, it should be possible to do so in Lexington. It's a nice small town. I just love Lexington. Plano, Texas. So I got a good friend who lives in Frisco, and Plano's right next door. Not for me. Again, houses on top of houses. I can't stand that. I'd go out more, and I forgot the names of towns that are out further along, going north of that. But man, if you get some of those ranchers, on acres, it's freaking awesome. Yeah, I could easily see myself moving to Tyler, Texas, the eastern part of Texas. I love it out there, man, for sure. And my wife loves Texas too, so that could be a destination for us. Look, this is 10 years hence, but still. And I love Virginia, and there's a lot of great states in Georgia, places in Georgia too. But Plano, not for me. A little bit too kind of like Mesa, too much on top of each other, too busy. Even the best retirement plans can go wrong somewhere down the line. Maybe the stock market didn't go as well as planned, or maybe you didn't save enough. Because of these risks, it's a great idea to retire someplace with a low cost of living where padding your retirement income is possible. Plano has some of the lowest housing costs relative to local income in the study. Jobs are also plentiful. I agree with that. There's lots of boomtown, big time in Plano. That whole area is nuts. Plano ranks fourth in unemployment. Perhaps best of all, Texas is a tax-friendly state. Has no state retirement tax. A lot of these states aren't going to. Kentucky, yes, Kentucky has a tax, but you're not going to pay anything if you're making $50,000 a year. Neither will you. We're in Georgia either. So the fact it has no state income taxes doesn't mean anything if you're not paying anything anyway, because your level of income is so low to begin with. But Texas does have high property taxes for sure. Boise, Idaho. Now let's take a look on the map. Number 3 is Boise. I didn't know it was way up there. Okay. Yeah, well, I guess I should have known that, right? Boise, Idaho is number 3. Moving to a new city is important. You can feel comfortable. It scores high on livability and affordability to claim the 3rd spot. Specifically, it boasts some of the lowest crime in our study, scoring 11th and 7th in property and violent crime. Housing here is affordable relative to local income, and the city ranks 6th for percent of median income needed to pay for the average homes. That's good. Not just affordable for locals either. Just about everybody should be able to afford Boise, and it has a 3rd lowest cost of living in our study. So I like that. That's there you go. Madison, Wisconsin is number 4. Not for me, man. I couldn't take it there. University of Wisconsin. I think that's capital of the state of Wisconsin. Ooh, not for me, but it's nice. I mean, no getting right. My brother and I went there when we were going from Virginia. We had a family reunion in Indiana someplace, and we happened to go through Madison. Man, we let's just put it this way. This is back in the drinking days, and we had a good time. Let's just put it that way. It was a long time ago, and I think we forgot what hotel we stayed in, as a matter of fact. We went to some bars. It's 25 years ago. And I just remember it was like, we forgot what hotel we stayed in, and we couldn't find I can't remember if we couldn't find our car, but we had all our gear in the hotel. We couldn't remember what hotel we stayed in. So we were just kids, if you're watching this video, don't start drinking. It's no good for you for sure, because you'll forget your hotel and where you parked. And I just can't remember the whole thing, but we had a good time, but not for me. Coming in 4th is Madison, it does rank in the bottom half for effective income tax rate and cost of living. Healthcare costs, something seniors can care quite about. It leans toward the affordable side. It does offer senior homeowners a break on their property taxes. Overall, Madison has the lowest effective property tax rate in our study. Wow. Combine that with the 5th lowest sales tax, and despite the initial high cost of living, I don't agree with that at all. Wisconsin's nuts when it comes to taxes, and I don't agree with it. But just because I don't agree with it doesn't mean you should not look at Madison. I would recommend against it. Louisville, there you go, on the other state of the great state of Kentucky. So you got Lexington and Louisville over here. Louisville comes in number 5. Another bluegrass state representative. It scores no worse than 32 on any of our metrics that capture the cost of living. Highlighting the affordability are the low overall cost of living and affordable healthcare costs. Where Louisville could use some help is his livability scores. Yeah, fairly high crime rate, and I do believe that, and high unemployment. Surprised. Well, let's keep going down. Henderson, Nevada, too hot for me, man, but there's Henderson right there. Number 6, right outside L.A., or Las Vegas, excuse me. Ranked 6 on this list. It scores high as a good place to retire early thanks to low tax rates. Remember, there's no income tax in Nevada. And I think they have pretty low property taxes as well. Some of the lowest property taxes in our study. One slight concern is the sales tax, which is over 10%. Another plus for Henderson is his low crime. Safe city for retirees, scoring the top 10 for both crime rates. Has plenty of medical facilities and ranks 7th for medical facilities per 1,000 residents. Hey, I just want to go back to the crime rate stuff. Everyone gets tied up in crime. Man, I've done studies on this, and I've done videos. if you're the likelihood of you being hit with a crime is just not very high. If you avoid the places you know you need to avoid, it's just not likely to happen. Does that mean your car won't get broken into on occasion? I don't know, maybe. But in terms of personal, your own safety, you're safe in the United States, my friends. And I got a guy from Norway who watches the channel, and I'm not sure, I haven't heard from a guy from Ireland. America is not a crime-infested place. There are places in America where crime is rampant, and that ticks me off. Southside Chicago used to be Anacostia, D.C., and I don't know if Anacostia is anymore, but and this ticks me off, and that's because of drug crime, drug trade. It's just it creates significant incentive for hoodlums who are criminal and violent to rise to the top to basically kill off their competition. It's sad. But everybody else is safe. There's just no getting around that. Again, could you be victim of a random assault? Yes, absolutely. Will you? Probably not. It's just not. Just so don't. Oh my goodness, Louisville is high in crime. I better not go there. Man, we used to live in Haddonfield, New Jersey. Next town over was Camden, New Jersey. Camden, New Jersey is horrific when it comes to crime. So thus, you would think some of that would spill over to Haddonfield. It didn't, because those locals stayed there to fight each other, which again is horrible. And if you're a young child growing up, mom, that's all you can afford to raise your kids in Camden. It's horrible. It's horrible. But when you're lived in Haddonfield, you're fine. I mean, could that change? Sure, absolutely. But I just Pittsburgh. I'm a big fan of Pittsburgh. I don't know why. I just always been a big fan of Pittsburgh. One of the most undervalued cities in America. It comes in 7th. According to our data, healthcare costs here are competitive, ranking the top 10 for the study. Plus, while the cost of healthcare is low, the quality on offer is high. Okay, so they got a lot of medical facilities there for sure. Home to some of the best hospitals in the country. Yeah, and ranks highly in access to healthcare. Data from the Census Bureau that shows that Pittsburgh ranks 9th in medical facilities per 1,000 residents. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Pittsburgh. I don't think I could ever live there. It's a little bit too cold, a little bit too dreary for me, and I know my wife would say the same. But I like Pittsburgh. I'm a fan of Pittsburgh for sure. Different than Philadelphia. That's no doubt about that. And you have close access to Hershey. What better going to Hershey in the park around Christmas? Fort Wayne, Indiana. Let's take a look at Fort Wayne. I've heard, is it Fort Wayne? Is Indiana way up here? I think Fort Wayne gets a bad rap, but I don't know anything about Indiana. I just always like Columbus, Indiana, or Jasper, Indiana. I don't know why, but and 8th is Fort Wayne, Indiana. It's one of the most affordable in the country, ranked for the low cost of living and median housing costs as a percent of median income. May not be perfect for everyone. Indiana is not the most tax-friendly state for retirees. Yep. And that hurts Fort Wayne's ranking. Indiana is not good for retirees, relatively speaking, to its next-door neighbor, Illinois. But it's true. Mesa, one of the top destinations for retirees, it takes 9th. One reason they flock here is the great weather. Nah, it ain't great. It's hot. Hot. And it's affordable. It ranks in the top 20 for median housing costs as a percentage of median income. City has also plenty of medical care facilities, and any medical complications that may arise early in retirement can be dealt with quickly. Yeah, and in fact, that's if you're going to live at Mesa and you're probably not doing much traveling, a Medicare Advantage plan is probably more optimal for you from a price perspective than a Medigap, just because there's so many resources and docs in Medicare down there. Lastly is Arlington, Texas. Claims the last spot is top 10. When you retire early, you need to make sure you are tracking every penny to stay on pace. Living somewhere with a low tax burden. Again, it's not a low tax burden, man. I keep saying, I tell you, this is where these guys make the mistake. No state tax is not the equivalent of a low tax burden. Just because there's no state income tax does not mean there's a low tax burden. You're still going to have sales tax. You're still going to have property tax. I'd much rather have low property, low sales, and an income tax like in Georgia, simply because you can have no income tax if you manipulate your assets accordingly. Anyway, so there's Arlington. So let's go over it. Effective income tax rate, and they're looking at, they give us this list. So there's Madison, 14.1. Annual health insurance costs, yeah, that's about right. Is that per household? Is equal to, I guess, yeah, no, it's not. That seems high to me. But all right, well, Mesa, Arizona, annual health insurance costs at $13,000. And that's not per household either. That's per individual. So for a 60-year-old in each state. So Pittsburgh right there, $6,000. Effective tax income rate, I bet it's not, man. I bet if you manipulate your assets accordingly, your effective tax rate would be a big fat goose egg. Housing as a percentage of your overall cost, and let's look at Pittsburgh, 23.4, Lexington, 21.2, Let's keep looking down. They got Dallas. Oh, Corpus Christi. Oh, man, I love me some Corpus Christi. Double-A baseball team, the Corpus Christi Hooks. An hour, 2-hour drive, I think, to San Antonio. If you want to go see some stuff at the Riverwalk, you're on the water, fishing, seafood. Love Corpus Christi. Not a big fan of Colorado Springs, man. It's just, I loved it. I thought I did when we got there. It was a little bit more run down than I expected. I was sadly disappointed. Arlington, Virginia, nuts, man. No way. Arlington, VA, housing as a percent of income. If you can't live on $50,000 in Arlington, Virginia, it ain't happening, my friends. Active effective property tax rate. Where's it? Tax 1.1. Average effective property tax rate. I don't get that. State and local tax rates. Okay, so effective income tax rate includes state and local income taxes based on retirement income of $50,000. I'm not sure how that retirement income is defined, because if it's defined as mostly Social Security, you're not paying 10%. It's not. Cost of unemployment data. Okay, let's see. Effective income tax rate. Here we go. This is the estimated income tax rate for a retiree with $50,000 income. It's split between $15,000 Social Security, $10,000 pension, $10,000 from IRA, and $10,000 of wages. All right, so that's way high. Average annual cost of silver health insurance plan. Okay. Average effective property tax rate. This is the annual property taxes divided by the median home value. Okay, I see what they're saying. So they're okay. All right, gotcha. They're basically saying if you got a $100,000 home, it's going to cost you $1,000 of property tax. Okay, I thought they meant relative to your income. I was like that. All right, gotcha. Well, that makes sense. There you go. Plano, yeah, there you go. So higher property taxes, Texas. Yep, that makes sense. There's Texas. Yep. And there's another Texas, El Paso. Austin. So Texas got 4 or 5 on the top 25, 6, 7 on the top 25. Texas, nuts. Seattle, nope, not there. Mesa, nope, not there. I'm looking. Colorado Springs and Denver, 0.5 for property tax. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. But Honolulu, 0.3. But good luck finding a house. So Lexington looks like number 1, man. You got Lexington, a 1% effective property tax rate. So, for every $250,000 home, that's $2,500. That's not too shabby. Kentucky, yep. Nevada, too hot for me. Indiana, where's Pittsburgh? 1.6. That's on the high end for sure. Florida, St. Petersburg, it doesn't do much for me down there. Just too hot and muggy. Yeah, I'm a very refined kind of guy. All right, well, there you go. Property and violent crime rate. Data comes from the FBI, UCR, something crime rate, uniform crime rate study. Medical facilities, data comes from the Census Bureau's County Business Pattern Survey and the American Community Survey. All right, cool. So there you go, man. I like it. The best states to live for on $50,000 a year in retirement or otherwise. And again, this is mostly for retirement because I'm looking at you get $35,000 from Social Security, $15,000 from IRAs, and that effective tax rate right here that they talk about will be basically nil, my friends. All right, don't forget to subscribe, do the 4 S's, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, now.